This summer, I'm sharing my adventures across the Swiss Alps. Starting in Interlaken, I'll be exploring the lakes and quaint valleys of the Jungfrau region. Then I'll be heading further up to Grindelwald, where I'll begin a 150-kilometer journey through the mountains with the end goal to reach the Matterhorn, the most striking mountain in all of Switzerland.
There she is. We're so close now.
I'm sharing all of the highlights from not just the hiking, but all of the villages and adventures that we experience along the way.
I thought it was a helicopter, but there's a massive landslide or avalanche happening right now.
So subscribe and come along for this next level adventure as we enjoy a summer in Switzerland together. I hope you're sitting comfortably ready for this epic journey across the Swiss Alps. I've got a quick discount code for you from today's sponsor, SimLocal, for anyone who's in the marketplace for a great deal on an eSIM. If you use the link in the description, it'll take you to the SimLocal website or to download the app. And then once you have found a deal in the country that you'll be traveling to, you'll be able to use the code PADDY10 at checkout and you'll get 10% off. The best part is the discount code works for any deal that you purchase with SimLocal going forward. It's not just on your first eSIM package, it's for any eSIM package going forward. So anytime you're going on a trip, guys, and you need to get an eSIM to alleviate all of the stress of having to queue up, purchase, install, and carry a local SIM card, just buy the eSIM package deal that suits your trip before you leave, install it using the software, and then the second you land, toggle that eSIM and you'll be able to go. SimLocal's eSIMs are a game changer for travelers just like us, and just with a few taps, you can connect instantly to local networks. No physical SIM card swap needed. You just download the SIM package electronically through the software, and when you land, you keep your SIM card in your phone, you don't take it out, but you just toggle the new SIM card that's installed to access data, minutes, text messages, whatever you need in the destination that you're going on holiday. Thanks to SimLocal for sponsoring this video. Right, let's begin this epic journey by starting in the town of Interlaken. I didn't fly here, of course. I landed in Zurich and used the very reliable Switzerland train service to get across to Bern and then up to the mountains and the lake of Interlaken. I decided to begin in Interlaken. It's a great place to get your first impressions of the Swiss Alps, check into a hostel. You also get a very great first glimpse of the Swiss Alps from here. And so I wanted to spend a couple of days doing a day hike or two, getting used to the altitude, getting used to the air, and just getting my bearings, because this is the first time I've ever been to the Swiss Alps. This is my first attempt at a multiple week hike. And yeah, I just wanted to get my bearings for a few days before the epic journey up to Grindelwald and then all the way over to Zermatt. So I got into Interlaken the day before yesterday, actually, and it was overcast and cold and I couldn't see any of these snow-capped mountains, so that's a nice change. So I'm staying at this hostel. This is my private room. It's got a private bathroom and a nice cozy bed, and they have the hot radiator on, and it was really cozy last night. And today's all about first impressions. I'm gonna head out into Interlaken town itself. We're gonna gauge some of the prices, we're gonna gauge some of the things that there is to see and do. We're just gonna walk around and enjoy this beautiful city or small town in the lower valleys before we start heading up into the higher regions of the Alps. And before we start this big hike, we're gonna check out Interlaken, get our first impressions of the Swiss Alps. The hostel building itself was absolutely gorgeous, and you could just tell it had plenty of history and atmosphere permeating through its creaking wooden floorboards. And with the cheap beer on tap and the giant sleeping dogs, it all added to its charm. Yeah, the hostel itself is really nice. It's in this beautiful old building, and it's been a hotel for like hundreds of years, but it's been recently converted into a hostel. And yeah, just across the street, cheeky little bakery. Okay, I think we're in trouble because today's a national holiday, randomly on a Thursday, and they told me that everything was going to be shut. But what are we going to do for breakfast? What are we going to do for coffee? Okay, so I spoke to the lady in reception at the hostel and she said it's banks, it's shops, usual things that are closed on a bank holiday, but she said most of the touristy things that are in Interlaken should be open, and the co-op and all the gas stations and all the usual. So we can get breakfast at the co-op at 8 o'clock in an hour when it opens. I'm starting to quickly realise, after being in the Swiss Alps for one day, that if you go to the supermarket or the co-op and pick up your lunch and maybe even pick up your dinner, it's not too bad in terms of the costs, but we'll go over everything during this series. In fact, if you look in the description of this video, you'll see a link to my entire budget, a breakdown of every single penny, every single franc that I'm spending per day on accommodation, activities and food and drinks. Everything is broken down so that you can really follow along with what it's like in terms of your budget when you come to the Swiss Alps. The good old Co-op. This supermarket chain is all over the Swiss Alps, and almost every village or small town has an outlet or two. Home to affordable sandwiches, delicious salads, warm wraps, cheap coffee, and even cheaper beer. This place would soon become my go-to as a backpacker here in the Swiss Alps, in need of much cheap and delicious subsistence. So all in all, I managed to get a sandwich and a chocolate bagel thing, not quite sure what that is. With a coffee, everything was 10 francs. So not too bad. So behind me is the starting point for the Haarderklum viewpoint, and we've got two options. We can take the little train that goes all the way up, although it's like a pulley system, so it's not a real train, and that will go all the way up, and it takes 8 minutes to get to the top. There's a long line of people looking to get up on there, but I fancy going for a little hike. I fancy getting our walking boots on, and I've heard it can take about 2 hours to get to the top, which is fine, you know, we've got all day, but I don't have any sustenance with me, so we're going to nip to the supermarket, we'll get something to eat. A sarnie, a banana and a can of beer for 7 francs. I was thinking, because the view might not be very good, even if we get to the top, at least we'll have a cold can of beer. One kilometre down, I've shedded some layers. It's steep, so it means it's hot, but it'll be nice to have those layers at the top. It's cold and windy. So far so good. My first kind of hike. I'm not really classifying this as a hike because compared to the big hike that we're going to start next week, this is kind of nothing. 3.5 kilometers. Typically I think we'll be covering 15 to 25 kilometers a day when we do the big hike, so being here, walking up this hill, starts to feel like an actual hike. This is actually a really nice sort of test run of me filming a hike, because this is kind of like the pilot of the series. I've already made some mistakes that I'll learn from going forward when we do the big hike. So for example, I didn't bring a battery for the Sony, and it's got enough battery maybe, but I should have definitely packed a couple, and I should have just done this trail in shorts. Even though it is cold, the second you start walking, it's nice to have airflow on your legs. Fun fact for you, this is not a locomotive, it's not driven by steam or gasoline, it's 100% driven by gravity. There is a pulley and mechanical system, but the weight of the cart coming down counterbalances and pulls the one coming up, and then they cross at that little connection point. And so yeah, it's a gravity thing, and it's very good for the environment, and it's 100 years old, so the technology back then was way better for the environment. We've gone backwards. Do you know how you can tell the difference between who's a tourist and who's a local? So you'll walk past a lot of tourists coming down and going up, and a lot of them are huffing and puffing, and they'll say something like, "Hi, how far more?" Or "How long till we get down?" You know, they're a little bit worried because they're tired. Maybe they didn't wear the right shoes. You know, usual stuff. I might make it look like in the edit that we're just walking, but it's steep. It's difficult. I'd rate this as a hard hike, and I've definitely underestimated it, but I'll be okay and I'll get up there. But you can tell when there's a local just going for a walk, because they come up here with their dogs, walking with their dogs. They'll come all the way up here. They're not even huffing and puffing. They're on their phone texting their friend. They're just walking along, enjoying their life. These are the locals. These are the Swiss locals, the people, the mountain people who do this as I walk in the park. Okay, we made it. We made it, yay! There's a really nice restaurant up here. You can sit indoors, looks very fancy. And you can also sit outside and have the beautiful views. I'd say it took about an hour and a half, so not too bad. The last 20 minutes were really flat, which was nice. Everyone's on the cheese fondue. Hot coffees, nice slices of cake. So far, no one's charged me any money, so it's free to come up here. There's no entrance fee. There's a little Instagram thing. Let's go take a close look. Okay. Voila. Woo. I can't linger too long because there's a queue. Even on a cloudy, overcast day, Switzerland still takes your breath away. If you're wondering how much the food and stuff is, it looks like it's 9 francs for a soup, 8.50 for some fries, chicken nuggets for 18, chicken nuggets and chips for 18 francs. That's expensive. And we've got beer on draft as well, but we've got that cheeky little can in our bag, haven't we? If you wanted to get a pint and a portion of chips, I think that's just going to cost you about 15 francs, which actually is not that bad. It's not that bad. Before we head up into Grindelwald in a few days, we're actually going to head that way into the lake valleys of the Brienz area, I believe it's called, and explore there. I was going to go to Grindelwald tomorrow actually, but it's the weekend and everything's fully booked or extremely expensive, and when I changed my search to Monday, all of a sudden it was like 40 euros instead of 400. So I decided to stay in this area for like 2 or 3 more days, and we'll do some day hikes, we'll go explore, but that'll be the next video. I'm just going to sit here and enjoy these paragliders, these views, and then find a quiet spot for that beer and sandwich picnic. I would just sit here blatantly in front of everybody, but there is quite a lot of staff and there's big signs that say no picnic. I also had a look at the menu, so let's say you do get a cheese fondue, let's say you get a couple of beers and some fries on the side, and you take the car up. You're looking at about 150 francs. But if you walk up and you bring a cheeky can of beer and a sandwich with you, the whole thing is going to cost you about 10. Hey! Wow! That was lucky, wasn't it? They got to go right over everyone's head. I would fly the drone, but I don't want to kill anyone. Also, they're not the best views, but here's some stock footage that I found of this place on a clear day, and it just looks incredible. So. Wow! Cheers. Oh! I just knocked my beer over. Good morning, welcome back to the most beautiful place in the whole world. And today, we're going to be going on a boat. And honestly, I can't get over Switzerland. I can't get over this place. And every single day and every single hour and every single waking minute that I'm here, I have a smile on my face, I have a face of disbelief, and I just can't get over what it must be like to be Swiss. And to have this and call this your home country, and you guys are the luckiest people in the world. And I hope you realise that. Honestly, I was just living my best life the last few hours. This morning, just killing time, I checked out of my hostel and just been walking around this canal system and this lake. I've been flying the drone. This beautiful house behind me is just mind-blowing, and then the boat came out. We'll be catching the next one. So I'll nip to the supermarket and we'll get some lunch. And yeah, just come and join us again for another adventure, another kind of relaxed day, hopefully. We're just kind of commuting to another town. So yeah, before our commute on the lovely lake, let's stop by the co-op and get a 9 franc lunch to go and fill up our water flask. Very important here in Interlaken. And yeah, we are just literally getting on the boat from Interlaken and heading over to Brienz. Should take about an hour, but we are going to stop along the way. All aboard! There are currently 4 different vessels operating as a ferry service for not just actually moving people around, but as a tourist activity as well here on Lake Thun and Lake Brienz. They're connected by some canals in Interlaken itself, and they've been running on these lakes for over 180 years, can you imagine? The vessel that I was on first was really comfortable. You've got inside seating, which is much more comfortable, but I wanted to be outside with the breeze and to be connected to the sound of the steam engine chugging away, and just admiring the views, the distant snow-capped peaks and the gorgeous lake. Inside there is a cafe where you can get coffee, tea, drinks. You can even get a glass of champagne and fancy it up if you fancy it. And you can get food, hot meals, and just enjoy the ride. It can take about an hour and 20 minutes to get from Interlaken to Brienz if you don't get off. Welcome aboard, welcome aboard. as we leave Interlaken. There's that beautiful house again, and we're heading out into the middle of Breens Lake. There's about 4 or 5 stops before we're going to get off and explore the waterfall. Then we'll get back on and head to Breens itself. It's quite busy. This is the 12:07. It runs every hour. And so if you think about, most people have checked out of their hotel around 11 and now they're on the 12 o'clock. So they've got their suitcases. A lot of tourists will stay a few nights over in Breens. Apparently it's gorgeous. I can't wait to see. And yeah, it's very quiet. Everyone's just enjoying the ride. Okay, this is our stop. We're getting off at this one with the beautiful hotel, the incredible waterfall, which we'll hike up to the top, and then we'll catch maybe not the next boat, but the one after, and head across the water to Breens itself. That was a really nice boat ride. The only problem is no one ever checked my ticket. No one checked anyone's ticket, so I could have just got on here for free. But I'm not encouraging you to jump on the boat without a ticket, but nobody checked. Au revoir. So this is the little boat station, and there's a map, and it says that you can take the little cable car up to the top, or you can do about a 20-minute walk or an hour walk, depending on how high we want to go. And I just flew the drone, and oh my god, the waterfall goes up and up and up and up. And so we'll just go for a nice little hike and we'll enjoy the scenes, and then when we get fed up we can just come back down, maybe grab a coffee at that beautiful hotel. I mean, Switzerland's just taking the piss, isn't it? It's taking the piss. Wow! This is incredible. This is amazing. So fresh. incredible scenes. Thumbs up for this place. Beautiful hotel, incredible views of the lake, distant waterfalls coming out of mountains. Of course, we get to go underneath that waterfall, and a nice, quite easy trail. Very doable. There's quite a few tourists here and people with kids and stuff, and it's not that difficult. There is a vernacular cable car that probably saves everybody half an hour walk, but it's a fun way to stretch your legs and break up that boat journey. And we'll go back down now, and we'll get back on the next boat, and we'll go off to the next town. This is a good way to travel. You can have lunch, you can have coffee, you can have a beer, you can have a glass of champagne if you want. This place is very, very beautiful and comes with a very high price. So we're just going to walk down because in 25 minutes the next ferry comes. But you could easily spend a couple of hours there, smash a few glasses of Pinot down with your wife, enjoy your life. Boat's arrived. It's one of those sort of circular scooping engine boats. Wow. This is a very different style of boat to the last one. Should be about 10 minutes to Breens. It's that town over there. Mad scenes. This is the coolest engine boat I've ever been on. So according to the information on board, there's actually 4 different boats, and every single one of them's different, that go from Interlaken to Breens, stopping off at all the little towns along the way. But if you do get a chance to ride on this one, then go check out the engine. It's right in the middle of the boat, open for everyone to see, and you can smell the hot oil. And it was so cool. This is such a beautiful piece of history, and it's mechanical and analog, and it's in practical use here in Switzerland, and it's just the most beautiful vessel. Anyway, we're in Breens, kind of hungry, and we've got to kill some time before we can check in. We can't check in, right? This is unbelievable, right? We can't check into my accommodation, which is a dorm room, until 5 p.m. And checkout, luckily I'm staying 3 nights, checkout is 9 a.m. Can you imagine if you stayed one night? You weren't allowed to check in until 5 and you had to check out by 9. That's unbelievable, isn't it? It doesn't take that long to clean over a dorm bed, does it? Anyway, let's potter about Breens for an hour and a bit, explore. Imagine having a beautiful house like that, right? Right on the water's edge, right next to the boat pier. And then having everybody walk past your house all day, peeking their nose and going, bloody hell, nice house, mate. He's doing his gardening and he's got his dog on guard, and that's his house. But I mean, everyone can see into his house. He's got no privacy, but he's got the most amazing, beautiful garden, and a waterfall as a backdrop, and a lake as a front garden view. I'm sure he doesn't mind too much, but that would do my head in. So I don't really think there's that much to do in Breens on a cloudy, overcast day. I think the main activity is to enjoy the views, and it's still nice, but it's cold and the clouds are kind of covering everything. So it's about time we make our way to the hostel. So we're going to nip on this train and go 2 stations, 20 minutes, and then a 10-minute walk, and we should be there. My window's the one that's fogged up. Let's change. That's better. Oh, it's colder up here. We went up the mountain and up the mountain. That was a lovely train drive. Right, we're at Brunig Hasselberg, and we've got some quite specific instructions from the hostel in order to find it. They told us, do not use Google Maps because you'll get lost. So let's go see if we can find them. Oh, we're up in the clouds. Can you see behind me? The train's going into the distance. The mountains are in the clouds. We're quite high up and it's quite cold. So according to the directions, we have to, from the pass road after the Brunig Hasselberg train station towards Lunghern, take the first forest road to the right. This is just a main road. The footpath led me onto this. I hope I'm okay walking on this. I hope I don't get like in trouble. But this is where the footpath took me. Oh, it's cold. Okay, good news. Kunst un something something. That long word, basically, that's the name of the place I'm staying at. They have their own sign, so that's good. We can just follow this sign and should be there in about 10 minutes. Oh. Trying to get a jog on because it's cold. Wow. I think this is it behind me. Oi. Ideal situation. Hot fire, hot chocolate, and a nice cozy bed. I'm just staying in a dorm room. If you're wondering why I'm staying here, because it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and you know we should be going to Grindelwald to start the hike, it's because it was so expensive in Grindelwald over the weekend. It was like, couldn't find anything less than 300 euros or $300 per night, and this place was only $30. So we'll stay here for 3 nights, wait for the weekend to go away. I've got cheap accommodation sorted for Monday, stay there a couple of days, and then we'll start the big hike. But what's good is we can use this as a little base, and this area is not very well known, and we'll explore this area over the next 2 days and 3 nights here at this lovely little lodge. I think this is it. Good morning everybody, and welcome back to another beautiful day here in Switzerland. We've come back to Lake Brienz because in the previous video I actually just passed through this town and then moved up a little bit further by train into a little wooden cabin where I've been staying for a couple of days, and the weather's cleared and I've come back to Lake Brienz for two reasons. One is just to admire the lake in this beautiful sunny day and just watching the ferry coming and going back towards Interlaken. And the second reason is because this giant ridge behind me, in between Brienz and Interlaken, there's this huge ridge that runs along the spine of the lake, and we can take a scenic train to get up there, do a little hike, take the scenic train back to Lake Brienz, then I'll take you back into the valleys further north towards where I'm staying, and we're going to check out some cool things and sights there. Just a beautiful day of scenic trains, beautiful views, blue skies. Hopefully the weather stays nice for us, and lots of interesting sights to see in the Lake Brienz area. Just sit down, relax and soak up some incredible scenes, I'm sure. The beautiful turquoise Lake Brienz, one of the highlights of my trip in Switzerland, was just hanging around this area for 3 days. And the neighbouring Lake Thun and Lake Brienz together are just absolutely gorgeous. As you might have seen in the previous video, just going on the boats, going up and down the lake is a joy in itself. There's plenty of waterfalls, lots of hiking opportunities, scenic trains, which we'll get to in a second. And I think it's a great place to rent a mountain bike and spend a couple of days just exploring these relatively flat but beautiful landscapes, and yeah, just gorgeous villages, beautiful towns on the north and the south of each lake. Just, yeah, an absolutely gorgeous part of the Swiss Alps. Okie dokie, so I've just bought my ticket, 64 francs for a return. Quite expensive, but this is one of the cultural highlights of Switzerland, this train. It's 7.6 kilometers, takes just over an hour, and they use 2,000 litres of water per return trip because this is a steam train. Once we get to the top, I'll make a decision on how far I want to do the hike, because it looks like you could actually walk all the way to Interlaken, but I definitely didn't bring supplies for what would be probably a 7-8 hour hike. We'll probably just go up to the ridge, walk along it, get some nice views. Hopefully the weather's still clear up there by the time we get up to the top, and then yeah, I've got about half an hour to kill before the train leaves. Okay, so they've let us onto the train about 30 minutes before it's gonna go up. There was quite a few people queuing up, so I was worried that I wasn't gonna get a seat, but I've actually got my own little area of the train, but there's still 30 minutes to go, so I'm sure it might fill up. Yeah, the Brienz-Rothorn Railway, an absolutely beautiful piece of Swiss engineering history. This part of the railway track opened in 1892 after 2 years of construction, and takes hikers and tourists up to the height of 2,250 meters above sea level, and the trains leave once an hour from Brienz. Trains begin at the start of June and end in October, and leave once an hour. Now, as you'll see during this section of the video, it's going to get a little bit complicated, however. Let's take a closer look at the train. She's quite small, but she's beautiful. Wow. Bye-bye. Okay, 1 hour to the top. Okay, we're officially halfway up. There's a little stop and everyone's gotten off, and from here you can hike to the top or continue on the train. Everyone's gotten off, including the drivers. They're all having their sandwiches. So I might join them and have my lunch now, actually, on the train, because I don't want to lose my spot by the window, because I had some great views. So I'm gonna sneak my lunch on the train as well. See if I can keep this position, because the train got full, and if you're in the middle you kind of go, oh, I wish I could see what you were seeing. So I don't know how long the train's going to be here, but we'll just hang out, have some lunch and see what happens. Yeah, this is where my plan all started to go wrong. You see, I thought with everyone getting off the train here at the halfway point to explore the local village, for the train drivers to grab lunch, for the steam engine to get refueled, so I thought I'll sit here, I'll keep my seat by the window, I'll eat my lunch, and when everyone gets back on board, we'll continue up into the highest point of the Rothhorn mountain ridge, where we will disembark and begin our hike along the ridge. I should also point out that there are two trains, two little steam trains that push 2 carts each, and we'd both come up and we were waiting here at the halfway point, and I thought maybe 20 minutes max. Anyway, a well thought out plan went completely to shit. The train's going back down. The other train stayed and might be coming back down or might be going up, but I'm going back down. What a fail. No one told me anything. Look, on the bright side, I was having a great time on this train. The views were incredible and it was such an amazing experience. So even just going back down, you know, it was gorgeous, but I was thinking that I had wasted so much money on a return ticket and that I wasn't even on the right train and that it'd come back down, and I was worried that the other one had gone up without me. I was so confused, and I don't know why, but this stuff always just happens to me. I'm just so careless or oblivious. I saw no information. I just assumed that we were going to the top. I'm gonna ask them what happened. Was it my fault? Am I an idiot? See, 2 trains came down and 2 trains went up. And now 2 trains have come down. I'm so confused. I'm gonna ask the conductor.
Hello?
Hi, I'm confused. I bought a ticket to go to the top.
No. You have the ticket here.
Yeah. And we got halfway and then we came straight back down.
Tickets. Can
Yeah.
I see it?
Yeah, 1 second.
No.
Okay, I'll explain. When I arrived at the station, I bought a ticket, and you can see it's called like Breens Rothorn, and on Google Maps it's right up on the ridge, and the train goes all the way up. And you might have seen, I've seen a few clips on Instagram and things like that, and the train goes right up. Even the picture on the wall shows the train going up to the top of the ridge. And so when I bought the ticket, I said, hello, can I get a ticket to the top? That's exactly what I said. Can I have a ticket to the top? Return. And I paid the 60 something francs, which I thought, Jesus, that's expensive. There is a stop halfway, and then you continue up. And when everybody got off the train, including the drivers, and they were having their lunch, I thought, okay, they're letting the train cool down. Maybe it's a little break to give people a chance to go to the toilet or to see the viewpoint, and then you get back on the train and go up. So I didn't get off the train, as I said, because I wanted to keep my good seat. And then the train started going down, and then I thought, oh my God, no one told me to change the train. And I thought the train in front, it must have carried on to go to the top, and I was the idiot who stayed on the train that went back down. But the second train came straight behind. So I thought, what the hell is going on? I've spoke to the ticket inspector, and he said the trains don't go to the top until June 5th or something, because it's too much snow at the top and the train can't get up. And so if you want to get to the top, you start hiking from there to the summit, and then you can hike back down and get the train back to the bottom. But I didn't know that. And I don't think anybody else did. There's a lot of confused faces because we're stupid tourists and we don't know what we're doing. The whole thing is really kind of confused me. Let me go ask them. Okay, I had a word with him and he was very kind to let me back on the train. So we're going back up. I'm so stupid. So, for the second time, we went back up on the beautiful train. And the second time up, I again got a good seat. I actually, because I'd already just gone up on the previous train, I knew that there's this opportunity where the train goes through about 3 or 4 tunnels, but there's this one section of the tunnel where it opens up and reveals an incredible view of Breens and the valleys below, and so I got my camera ready for that and I got a great shot, which was nice. And so eventually, 2 hours later, after the first train had left, I finally arrived at the halfway point, which instead of going all the way up to the top because of the snow, it was just going to rest and return down. So I decided to get off and spend a few hours up here doing a hike, exploring the villages and getting my money's worth because I'd come all the way up here. At least now I could actually explore. And I should say as well that the train does go all the way up to the top after June 5th. And so the day of filming this particular vlog, I was only 2 days early, but I just hadn't read the information and I hadn't seen any signs or had been told. Again, I just assumed. So yeah, I'm an idiot. So it's a big valley behind me, and the train would continue up through and get spat right at the top of this ridge. The station's right at the top, but they said it's in the snow, but I don't think it is. There's not much snow up there, is there? But anyway, whatever. let's go enjoy an hour up here and get that fresh air and try and find a viewpoint of the lake. Okay, there are trails going in 4 or 5 different directions, so I think I'm going to fly the drone from here, just on this little pasture, get a little bit of a vantage point, see where people are going, because I don't want to venture too far and not get back in time for the last train, which is in 50 minutes. So, but it's gorgeous, and I can see down into the lake from here, and I can see the huge waterfall that goes past that fancy hotel. If you saw in the previous video, we went down there and we went underneath the waterfall. It's beautiful. It's one of the stations on the way to Breens from Interlaken if you just get off the ferry. So you can see like 360. You've got snow-capped mountains, you've got the lake, and then up there where the train track continues is where the final stop would be, somewhere on the top of that ridge. But whether there's snow up there or it's just not open until the beginning of July, or beginning of June, sorry. Yeah, I must say, beautiful spot up here, and the drone revealed more of the lake and the distant towns. It's just so beautiful in Switzerland. It's just so beautiful. And the majority of people were doing hikes in all different directions, really. So I did a half an hour hike on my own, and then I made my way down to this little village just above the train station, where I thought I could find a restaurant and maybe another viewpoint. So I headed down there. But yeah, this area, just mind-blowingly beautiful. Just come up here, and if you come after the 5th of June, you'll be able to go all the way to the top. Okay, I've had a little potter about. The village is quite small and everything's shut. It's a Sunday. And I really want to go up to the summit. It seems to be about a 2 or 3 hour hike, but I'm so unprepared, guys. The lack of research, not knowing that the train was only going halfway up, not bringing water, having my lunch 2 hours ago on the train, and in the grand scheme of things, like, this is not a fail. Like, obviously some people have got real problems. My problem is I want to climb that mountain, but I didn't plan ahead enough, and I'm an idiot. A misadventure is probably the correct term, because some of you probably sat there on your TV at home, glass of wine, saying, Paddy, shut up. You are not having a fail, mate. You are having a win. You are in paradise. What are you talking about? Shut up. Wish I could be there, so I apologise if I kind of triggered you, because I triggered myself. You can see the fail that we had. So here's the station down at Breens, and we came up and we're here, and this green line here is the hike, and the hike goes up and up and up all the way to the top, where this is the station at. So because we've only come up to here, I would have, if I'd had this day again, I would have come back, brought supplies, done this hike, 2 hours, 3 hours in this beautiful weather, got incredible footage. Then from there, not get the train because the train's not running, but walk down and then catch the train back and go back down to Breens. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. I'm just a bit frustrated because I didn't get what I want, which was a cool little hike and a view of the summit, but whatever. You don't always get what you want, especially when you don't prepare or research enough. I get a lot of that comments, you know, if you'd done your research, this, that, the other. This is research. This is called field research, okay? I could just sit on my phone all morning or all night researching every single aspect of my trip, minute by minute, train by train and all that rubbish, but I don't want to do that. I just want to rock up and make my own mistakes and do my own research, and you can learn from it. Sometimes it all comes together perfectly and I make the perfect travel film, and other times it's a shit show. This one looks like it's open. It says often. Nothing quite like a nice cold beer after a eventful afternoon. And yeah, I got the last train back down to Breens, where I actually got on a public train and went 2 stops further east, I think it is, yeah, east, up to where I was staying, and then 1 more stop to the town of Meiringen, which is just the most gorgeous place. And I'm taking you here for a very special reason. Following this beautiful river that flows through the town, you just keep following the stream up and up and up, and yeah, I'm taking you somewhere very special to finish this episode. Just you wait. New goal, new future goal for life: retire in Meiringen. Sometimes I'm like speechless, like no adjective could describe this place. Wow. So this place is extremely special. It's called the RA Gorge, and it's absolutely jaw-dropping. I saw this on Instagram and I thought, it's only up the road and it's worth going. It was only 10 Swiss francs entrance, and this is the best value for money experience I experienced on my entire trip in the Swiss Alps. Trust me on this one. The gorge is 1,400 meters long, and at some points 200 meters deep and only half a meter wide. Wow! It takes the average person about 45 minutes to walk all the way, but I'll tell you now, you'll be there for at least 2 hours, because you'll just not want to stop exploring, taking photos, and just absorbing the magical atmosphere here. Even on a hot, sunny afternoon, which today was, the gorge is naturally refreshing and cool because of the shade. And I've seen on Instagram as well that even on a rainy day, this place is just magical. Any keen geologists, I'll let you know that the rocks were formed in the first Cretaceous period, around 130 million years ago, as a marine sediment, which hardened into limestone over time. However, when the Swiss Alps were formed a mere 15 million years ago, the sediments were pushed up and arched, and the glaciers that were formed later, about 2 million years ago, ground down and etched these smooth and at times ragged edges of the gorge itself, and created this narrow passage of just outstanding beauty. It was my pleasure today to take you up the Breens Rockthorn scenic train, and we had a little bit of a mishap up there, but hey, you know what? I had a great time anyway. And then again, a huge privilege to end the episode here at the RA Gorge. This is the best 10 francs I've ever spent so far in Switzerland. For the price of a beer in a fancy bar, you can spend 2-3 hours in this beautiful gorge. Sawadee krap. All the Asian tourists are Thai, so every time I see them, I'm like, Sawadee krap. Both locations of the station and the gorge itself are in the description if you do want to save it. If you're in Interlaken, if you're coming to the Swiss Alps, this is only about half an hour away from Interlaken by train. So well worth it, and it's away from the crowds, and in my opinion, one of the most value for money, most beautiful experiences that you can have in the entire Swiss Alps. Good morning, and it's cold. It's the beginning of our hike from Grindelwald to Zermatt, 150 kilometers in total, and it should take us about 2 weeks if we take it easy, take it slow. However, it's not a very good start for 2 reasons, and the first one, as you can see, is the weather. It's been glorious for 3 or 4 days in a row, and typical, the day that I begin the hike, I wake up this morning, look out of the hostel room, and normally where it's been blue skies and gorgeous views of the mountains, it's just full of clouds and there's forecast for rain and snow. And you know, this is the beginning of June. And the second thing is, as you can hear, I'm sick. Oh, a little bit of a fever last night, kept waking up sweating, and yeah, just a typical man flu. So bad weather, under the weather altogether, it's not the best start, but you know what? We're gonna attack it anyway. I have kind of cheated a little bit, let me explain. Originally I was gonna walk up and over and down to Wengen from Grindelwald, but with the weather and with my emotional and physical being, I just decided, you know what? Let's get on the mountain train. Let's go up a couple of stations to Kleinschneiger. Probably said that wrong, but it's still going to be 8 or 9 kilometers. It's still going to be 3 hours, but it's mostly flat and then down into Wengen. There was no need to do a ridiculously steep hike today because I'm sick and there would be no views. The footage wouldn't be worth it, and I would have gotten up to here probably dead. So yeah, instead of starting down in Grindelwald, we've now come up a little bit, and we're gonna continue and begin our hike sick and in the bad weather. So things can only get better from here. Fingers crossed. First thing I've got to do is get a few more layers on, because this train station's at 2,000 meters. It's 4 degrees, and when the wind picks up, it's very cold. This is the mountains for you. This is the unpredictable nature of nature and the Alps in general. Okay, let's go. I have to say that it feels so good to be finally on the first day's hike. It's been a long time coming, this trip. If you don't know, I planned to go to the Himalayas. I was going to do Everest Base Camp, but in the end I decided not to go. There was some new rules and you needed a guide, and I wanted to be alone. I wanted to have time to myself, and I didn't want to hold anybody else up and be in a group. You know, filming a hike with the pressure of having a guide and other people around you would just mean that the video would suffer, and I decided that I didn't want to do it. And then I started researching and I thought, let's go to Switzerland. You know, the hiking here is supposed to be some of the best in the world. You can do it alone. And you know, today even though it would have been nice to start down in Grindelwald, maybe it's for the best. And being in Switzerland, it's so easy just to nip on a train and come up the side of the mountain and start the trail a little bit further along. But I got to say that this was the moment that I told my girlfriend that I was really looking forward to the most, which was the day that I actually begin the hike, and the feeling of being out here and for it being real. Like this hike to Zermatt is going to be difficult, it's going to be long, and there'll be lots of ups and downs. And we're kind of starting on a down, sadly, but it still feels like a win to me, so. It also feels really nice to get away from the tourists, because I gotta tell you, like, I started in Interlaken. It was just full of coach loads of tourists and big group tours from India, China, and lots of tourists from all over the world. And then we had a bit of a break when I kind of stayed in a family guest house away from everywhere. That was really nice. But then coming into Grindelwald and going up to Jungfrau, the highest train station in the world, which is just between those clouds you can see, up at 4,000 meters yesterday. You know, the footage was amazing, but you know, the Swiss Alps is popular for a reason, and it brings tours and it brings travelers and tourists in droves. Absolutely couldn't believe it. One thing that I was blown away was just how touristy Interlaken and Grindelwald was. So now that we're walking into town to town to town, we should be passing through some popular places, don't get me wrong, but there should be quite a lot of distance away from these tour groups. They don't really do hiking, they just kind of go on the train and they take a picture and then they do the thing and then they go back and eat cheese fondue. Nothing wrong with that, that's a great holiday. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to just being on my Todd, as we say in the UK. Another good thing about leaving behind Grindelwald and the Jungfrau mountain area is there's so many activities and things to spend your money on. And you know, the Switzerland Alps are not the cheapest place. In fact, you can track all my spending in the description. I have a link to my spreadsheet. Every day I break down what I spend on food, transport and activities and everything combined, so you can see and budget accordingly. And you know, from this point on, the activities is going to be quite low. You know, yesterday I went up to Jungfrau Joch, the highest train station, 200 francs, so you know, nearly $200 just to go to a train station. That was an expensive day out, whereas activities going forward very much are just going to be hiking and the odd lunch and breakfast and hotel, and you know, maybe we'll see and do some more activities along the way. I really don't know, but hiking's free, so. Here we are at the top of one of the ski slopes in the winter season. Looks like you would slalom down here, go down, ski to Wengen, come back up. It says we've got about half an hour to go. We've been going about 2 hours, so that makes about sense. It's quite eerie, actually, and it's all deserted. Anyway, Avanti. Hiya. You alright? they've actually got bells, cow bells. I think that's so that they don't get lost. Or the farmers can find them in the snow or in bad weather. Speaking of bad weather, it's just started raining. Let's get our jacket on. Right then, let's go. Okay, there's the town of Wengen. That's where our hotel is. Let's make our way down. My friend Carl Watson, he made a fantastic 1-hour documentary about his whole travels around the Swiss Alps in the same region as this, and he gave me loads of advice. And one of the things he told me to do was to come to this beautiful little church here in Wengen. He said it's got the best view down into this valley here, the Lauterbrunnen Valley here. So this is like a super famous valley. There's like a waterfall spewing out of the side of the mountain, and it's a huge valley. Apparently it's just incredible, and this is like the best view. And he came here in his video, and I was so excited to sort of share a picture or a video with him to say, hey, I made it. And as you can see behind me, even though it's still crazy beautiful, it's not the same, is it? But tomorrow we go down into that valley and we walk all the way through to the town called Murren and Grimmelwald. So we've got a beautiful scenic day tomorrow. Fingers crossed it gets a little bit better, because as epic as this mistiness is, it's just hiding one of the very rarest, most beautiful, dramatic, scenic views that the Swiss Alps has to offer. I'll come back in a couple of hours and we'll see if it's cleared up. We'll come early in the morning and then we're going to walk through that. That's exciting. Good morning, everybody, and look, I'll just get straight to the point. I can't actually believe my eyes. This view that I'm just currently enjoying with the church cat, you're so lovely and warm and soft, aren't you? And you live here. This cat has no idea just how lucky she is. Today's hike involves downhill into Lauterbrunnen itself, which is that famous Instagram beautiful location, scenic city basically in the Alps, down there with that waterfall that comes out of the side of the mountain. And even though it's in the misty clouds right now, it looks like it'll be a great little trek down there. From there we're going to trek up to a town called Murren, and then we're going to take a cable car just the last little bit to our hostel, which is actually up on the ridge somewhere in a place called Gimmelwald. A long day.
Yeah, actually when I sat here on this park bench admiring the view, I thought to myself, let me actually change things around. Let me book a couple of nights down in Lauterbrunnen Valley itself. This would not only break up the hike, into 2 separate days, but also just give me a little bit of time to recover from my man flu.
There's views and then there's views. I feel like that's a saying here in Switzerland. I've been meeting a lot of tourists, Americans, Canadians, Europeans. People say, you know, where I come from, we got beautiful mountains too, but nothing compares to this. Okay then, so there's been an immediate, hilarious change of plans. And there are moments in your life where you start to think, am I getting old? Am I getting old? Am I too old for this? And this was one of them. So I'm literally just left the outskirts of Wengen and we're heading down the trail to Lauterburren, and then we're going to go past the waterfalls and up to the valley and stay up to the mountain. And so I just told you I'd booked the place. I booked a hostel for 3 nights, starting tomorrow down there in the valley. And I had it all worked out in my head. I was gonna use that. I'll let you see the view while I'm explaining. I was gonna use that 3 nights to get over my man flu, do a little bit of admin work, and it was cheap, and I was gonna make some friends. But no, because they've just messaged me. They said, please review our age booking policy. No hello, thank you for the booking, just straight to the point. So I was like, oh, what's happened here? So I check, and they have a 18 to 35-year-old age booking limit, window, whatever you want to call it. So I wrote back saying, oh, hi, sorry, I didn't see that. I'm 37. I stay in hostels all the time. I'm a young guy. I'm hiking through the Swiss Alps. Is that okay? Because here's the thing, like, I kind of understand where they're coming from, because I've stayed in a few hostels already on this trip and it's full of families, you know, because Switzerland's expensive, and when you start searching for accommodation, hotels are $100 to $300 a night minimum. Hostels can be anywhere from $30 to $50 a night. So if you've got a family, put yourself in a family room or in a private room. Or I've even seen like people checking into dorm rooms, right? And that is just that, okay, that is too much. There should be rules on that. And so I think they're countering that by saying you have to be 18 to 35 years old. But like, I'm not an old fart. I don't have kids. I'm a backpacker. I'm just 16 months older than 35 years old. And so I wrote them a nice message saying, is that going to be okay? And they just wrote back saying, to the point, cancel your booking. So I've done that, I've cancelled the booking. So instead of spending 3 nights down in the valley, we're just gonna walk through the valley, stay up and above it in another hostel that doesn't have this weird rule. It's not weird, it's just me getting old. And then we're not gonna spend 3 nights in this valley because, well, we might do. We'll see if there's other accommodations later. But I kind of had my heart set on it. It was cheap, it's in a beautiful place. But I'm too old. I'm 16 months too old to stay in a youth hostel in Switzerland. And I'm bitter and angry about that. Too old to be in a hostel. Seriously.
Als ich angefangen habe, dachte ich, kriege ich schon. Ein Bildschirm, der noch mal durchhalten.
Wow. Unbelievable. That is unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, the way the white wispy clouds have cleared thanks to the sun showing its face, which was not on the forecast today. The way the water is just falling down and spraying against the huge cliff granite surface, and then down into the luscious green valleys where Lauterbrunnen is, and that's where we're headed, obviously. This whole valley is just dramatic and easily the most scenic, easily the most beautiful thing we've seen on this trip so far. Grindelwald, Lake Breens, they were beautiful. It's all been beautiful. But this valley, whew, it's hard to beat that. If you think about doing this hike, I mean, going down's pretty easy, obviously, but coming up would be a killer, because from Lauterbrunnen up to Wengen, whew, you'd have to be doing 100 of these switchbacks, and they're super steep. And there's probably, no joke, 50. You can see the switchback. And it's been like that now for about half an hour, and I'm coming down. So the few people that I've seen coming up are puffing and huffing, and I'm not surprised. Maybe get the train up and hike down, if I were you. Are you winding me up? You know, it's important to savor moments like this. Not everywhere you travel is this beautiful, you know? All those long flights, trains, nights with fever in the hostel. Those moments seem to last so long, and these moments seem to last so short. Okay, so after that lunch, I'm recharged and ready to go, except there's a bit of a problem. My friend Carl Watson, aka the executive producer of this series, he's given me a big document with all his recommendations, and he said, you know, to get to where I'm going, we could just walk through the beautiful valley, but he says it's quite flat, and he says it's beautiful, but it's better to go up via the cable car and walk along the higher mountain pass. However, unfortunately, the cable car's not running today. It's under maintenance. So we can't take the scenic high route. We're gonna have to just take the low valley road. That's a good idea. So these farmers, who are quite close to the center of town, they have a card machine and a box to put cash in, and they're selling their own dairy products, fresh milk and fresh cheese made here on the farm. And as tourists are walking up and down, they're thinking, yeah, I'll try that. And then I've just seen this woman using her card, and then she opened the fridge and took some pieces of cheese out. Talk about getting it from the source. And that farmer, that was a smart move. This will probably be the last time we see it because we're heading down into the valley. Bye-bye, beautiful waterfall. Bye-bye, beautiful town. Up on the mountain behind up there, there's Wengen. That's where we stayed this morning. That's where we were this morning. We've come all the way down. Beautiful. And the sun's come out. I still can't get over the weather. Right then, another 45 minutes down the valley. They have people coming down doing skydiving, just landing in this field behind me. They must fly right up there and then, wow, they must get the most amazing view. Actually, look, there's another one coming down in the valley now. I might have to see how much that costs because that would be next level. Stay tuned for a future video. Maybe we'll do it, maybe. After the hike, we'll come back. Okay, we made it down to the bottom of the valley and we're gonna get this cable car, which I've just missed, up to Gimmelwald, which is where our hostel is. Okay, welcome to Gimmelwald. This is where our hostel is. We just came down from here in the valley up to Gimmelwald, 1,300 meters. And this is the town here. You can get the cable car straight again over to Murren, but we're not going to do that. We're in this town. That was easy. There's the cable car. There's my hostel. I didn't realize it was that close. Holy moly, I can't wait to see what the view's like from the hostel beer garden. Okay, cool. So you know when you just get a vibe? This place is a vibe. So I had one night booked, but I'm gonna stay 2. Thankfully they had another room. I just want to take a day just to fully try and get over this man flu. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so I've woken up, had breakfast. I paid 250 francs to stay here because everywhere was full and it's the bank holiday weekend. So it's quite expensive, but we slept great and we're feeling okay. We're feeling fine. We've got a little bit of a sniffle, a little bit of a chest, but I'm excited. I was a little bit nervous yesterday, but something about the weather and something about just like, this is why I came here. You know, I came here for a challenge and I came here to climb and to hike and to be in the mountains. And even though we've been doing lots of that, today was it's the biggest hike of the trip so far. 15 to 17 kilometers up and over into a new town. We'll be saying goodbye to the Jungfrau region today, and we're going into a different area of the mountains. One foot in front of the other. Enjoy it, breathe it in, go slow. We're leaving early at 8:30 in the morning. We'll quickly stop at Co-op and get an extra bottle of water and a couple of things to snack on. And then we're gonna get going. Pretzel. Chocolate peanut butter bar. Extra water. Okay, take one last look at the Eiger, that pointy, huge, beautiful mountain, and Jungfrau itself, overlooking the whole region. We're gonna say goodbye to all the paragliders and all the people having really good fun. Wow. And according to maps.me, I've put in my start location in my hotel, and we're going to be going via a very beautiful pass, a mountain pass, and it's saying 17 kilometers and about 9.5 hours, which is a little bit daunting and a little bit scary. So there's only one thing to do. Let's go. Okay, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling super good. And we've come up and way out of Murian and way out of Gimmelwald. And we're heading up into this valley. This valley leads us up and to the mountain pass. If you look up, just in the tip of the clouds there, that's the Sheath Horn. That's where they have that famous building from the James Bond movie. That's where they have the revolving restaurant. That's where you pay 100 francs return. You stop off up there, you change cable car, and you go up to the top there. But we're not doing that. We're down here, making our way up and over on foot. And we just have this beautiful valley in front of us to go up. And there's a few dotted clouds in the sky, which give us a little bit of a break now and again. And then we go through some foresty parts. But from now, we're above the tree line for the next few hours, up and over the big mountain pass. So we'll be exposed for the next 4 or 5 hours, I would imagine. But look at this. This is why we came to Switzerland. This is why we wanted to do a solo hike. So we could have moments like this with no one around, no guide, no tour guide waiting like, oh, has he finished talking to his camera like I would have had in Nepal. It's just us. And it's a privilege, it's a joy to have you here with me. Seems like we're climbing a mountain now. Obviously, we're in the Swiss Alps, Paddy. Very kind.
No worries. All for the gram, it's okay.
You can come.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You have your...
Outside of Switzerland, with like the small Swiss cross.
Yeah? Yeah, it's
In Switzerland, you're not allowed.
because they're not made in Switzerland.
I don't know how much needs to be manufactured in Switzerland.
What, the shoes?
Yeah, the shoes. It's like when you buy them in Switzerland, they normally have, in Switzerland they don't have the Swiss cross on it, because it's not legal, because they're not produced in Switzerland, so you cannot use the Swiss cross.
Ah, that's why you got rid of the Matterhorn on the Toblerone.
Exactly, because they put...
After you. I made some friends, yay. Okay, so it's been nice chatting to those guys. They're walking in the direction of this hut where they plan to have lunch and then hike back down. And I said, oh yeah, I'm hiking up and over to the next town. And they said, oh, isn't that trail closed? And I said, I don't think so, I haven't seen any signs. They said, oh yeah, we read online it's closed. It was just news to me. So I'm walking into the direction of maybe a dead end. Updates coming soon. Okay, here's where things get interesting. So they read online that the high pass, because we have to do this high pass, Sea Fenforge, okay, that's closed. They read online that's closed. We have to go up and over that to get down to Greyslap. That's where we're staying tonight. It's up and over that mountain. Up there, it's in the clouds now, but a second ago you could see that's the top of the Sheathorn. There's the revolving restaurant. That's 2,000 and something meters up. I mean, what do we do? Do we turn around and walk all the way back to Murian, get a cable car and then get a bus all the way around and spend all day on public transport? Or do we just keep going and we just see what happens? I've spoke to the lads. They're having lunch and fondue there, and then they're going to go back down. They're just having a little day hike. And I'm just going to keep going, and if it gets stupid, if it gets dangerous, I'll turn around and we'll come back and we'll just say, hey, it was a failed hiking day, and we'll put our tail between our legs and just go around on public transport. Or we go up this valley into the snow, get past and over it quickly, and get down back into the lower levels and just shrug it off. This is a potential danger. This is something that could be stupid. This is something that could be ill-advised. But I'm going to use my common sense. I'm going to follow these footsteps and just hope for the best. We just take a quick moment to enjoy these white and purple flowers before potential death. I shouldn't joke. It should be fine. Should be fine. So in my mind, when I see a mountain with just a little bit of snow, I think that's fine. We just walk on the snow. No big deal. But that's my lack of experience. So I've just had a quick, valuable, scary lesson. So I was just walking up here because it's like snow on top of the trail. You can see some, looks like goat trail. Anyway, I'm just walking up here and my foot just sank and went down about 1 foot into a hole. Obviously the snow is over the top of these ditches that we can't see, and so my foot just went straight down and I went up to my knee or my waist in snow. It's no big deal. I didn't hurt myself, but I could have rolled my ankle or whatever. So that's just to show you, like, the snow is hiding so many hazards. And you can see we've come quite high. There's the hut down there with the boys. I've seen 2 hikers turn back and come back. They didn't say anything to me. They just went Grüße, which is Swiss for hello. They probably looked at me like, what's he doing? So I'm just going to stay on the grassy areas for now, keep going a little bit, and then we'll see how far we can go. I would be devastated if I get up there and it's just impassable. I would be devastated. But until that point, we'll keep pushing on. And just before we give up, we'll have one last piece of equipment that we can use to get a bird's eye view. Okay, I just went about another 100 meters and made a big mess and fell over and fell flat on my face in the snow. Because as I was crossing, I was walking over a river. I had no idea. See, all of the ice and all of the snow up there is melting and it's just going underneath the snow. It's just like probably a couple of weeks before this final piece of ice and snow melts away and it's officially summer. Anyway, I can hear thunder. Look behind me. I'm gonna throw one last dice at this, which is I'm gonna fly my drone up and over there and see what we can see. If over that precipice is a little bit of snow and then down into green valleys, we'll think about it. If it's nothing but snow for a kilometer or more, and with the bad weather rolling in behind us, let's not say that out loud. Okay, I just flew the drone and I just flew it up and over and up and over, and I thought to myself, maybe it would reveal just a little bit of snow, a little bit of ice, and we could just keep going. But just over this ravine is the first little dip, and then there's a long climb, about another 2 kilometers, and then we get to the highest point. From there, that's where I plan to have lunch, and then hike down 7 kilometers to the town and the hotel. But as I went over this ravine, it revealed nothing but massive amounts of snow and ice that, as you can see, is melting and is far too dangerous for me just to casually walk across and potentially slip and fall. You know, I've just had tiny little examples of it in the 2 clumps of snow I've crossed. Secondly, behind me, the big clouds but rolling in, and there's thunder, and it's coming this way. So if I push on and I fall, or I put my foot through the snow and ice and it goes deep and I fall down into a crevasse or something like that, or maybe I just slightly hurt my ankle and then I have to spend hours and hours hobbling up and over through the snow and ice, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it, and it's so frustrating because I flew the drone expecting for it to be bad and then better. I really hoped that this was almost the top, and then it would be back down into the green valleys, into the next town where our hotel is, which I've booked online already. Sadly, no. Sadly, putting it lightly, I'm devastated. I'm absolutely devastated. We've come up 8 kilometers so far, and we have about 11 left, or maybe 9 left. 3 up and 6 down. So we're gonna have to put our safety and our pride before my usual stubbornness to just push on and just do it regardless. You should never underestimate mountains, especially when you don't really have much experience like me. And look, all I have in my bag is water, a drone, and a pretzel, and some underwear, and a pair of socks, and a toothbrush. I don't have the gear or the team around me to say, oh, don't worry, we'll go up and over the sheet rocks, and then we'll tie each other to each other, and if someone falls down a ravine, we'll pull you out, and it'll be a difficult 3 kilometers, but we'll get up, and then once we get up, we'll get down, it'll be fine, push on together. I don't have any of that. So what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to go back down, speak to the lads, and say, yeah, you were right. It's not passable, it is closed. And do you have any idea how the hell I'm going to get to my town? Ugh. Damn it. Mates and friends, oh my God! An avalanche just started. I thought it was a helicopter, but there's a massive, massive landslide or avalanche happening right now. It's freaking terrifying. I thought, is that helicopter or is that thunder? And then I just saw like a... And it was mainly ice and rocks. And it's now settled in that. Far, far away, thank God. I'm just looking up around me now like, oh, Jesus Christ. Let's get down to this hut. Let's get off this mountain and let's figure out a way of getting to our next destination. can hear another avalanche. But it's coming from the valley we were going to go up and over. I'm just expecting it to come over like a tidal wave. Best not think about stuff like that. My imagination's going wild now. I've never seen a landslide or avalanche or whatever that was. And it's beautiful and terrifying in equal measures. Let's get into this hut and let's get into this pretzel. My overall emotion is happiness. This is so much fun. It's salty, it's good. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm out here to have an adventure. I'm out here to make mistakes. I'm out here to learn. It would be boring if it went really swimmingly straight. It would be boring if I didn't wake up not feeling sick and then I had to get the train and skip the first 6 kilometers on day one. It would be boring if I didn't try to climb up there and see what happened and fly the drone and see that it's too dangerous to pass. It would be boring. I like it to be like this. I like misadventures. I like that I have to turn around, walk all the way back to town and figure something out. I'm happy, I'm grateful. I'm happy for this pretzel, it tastes amazing. I'm happy that you guys watch my videos. I'm happy that because of that, I'm here, sat on this bench, in this place, struggling along. I'm glad, I'm happy, I'm so happy. You know, I did a lot of training for this. I walked on the treadmill back at my house and did 15 kilometers or 20 kilometers every day for like 3-4 weeks. And, you know, the fact that I can carry this backpack and just walk up these mountains and feel fine doing it, and my legs are strong, that makes me happy. I'm not getting any younger. I'm 37. Couldn't stay at that hostel the other day because I'm too old. Got grey hairs. But I still got strong legs. And that's why we're not going to give up. So basically, in summary, I'm happy. I'm happy that happened. And I'm happy I've got this pretzel. It's the little things in life that make you happy. But seriously, Co-op, you make the best salted pretzels. Unbelievable. Hi, welcome back. So, before I share with you this incredible place and my adventures on my rest day, I need to bring you up to speed with what happened since the last video, because we left on a little bit of a cliffhanger. In the last video, I turned around and made my way down, and I went a different route to the way I hiked. In fact, I looped around, went down a beautiful valley towards Gimmelwald. The hike was absolutely gorgeous, and I was really happy that I went down and around a different way. It took about 3.5 hours and just incredible scenes the whole way. The only problem was that distant thunderstorm that we talked about just before the avalanche in the previous video, that did catch up with me, and it created a huge hailstorm, which I managed to capture a little bit of. Hailstones. It's quite nice actually. It's like a little massage. Let's hope they don't get any bigger. Then it kind of subsided and it just drizzled and it was cold and the storm kind of passed, which was nice. And I made my way down to Gimmelwald, where I rested for about an hour, had a cheeky ginger beer with ice, and then I had to begin the arduous, dull and stressful journey all the way around from Gimmelwald down in the cable car to the Lauterburen Valley. Because it was Bank Holiday Sunday, it was packed and I had to wait for a bus and jumped on a bus and headed back down the valley towards the train station. From there, I got a train to Interlaken, which was like heartbreaking because that's kind of where we began this whole series. From Interlaken, I got on a train to Spies, and this place is incredible. I'm glad I had about an hour and a half. I just went to a pub with a beautiful view of the lake and enjoyed my time there waiting for my train. By the time the second train arrived, God, this was so stressful. I actually recorded a clip at the time. Bear in mind that I was kind of frustrated at this point. Ticket inspector looks at my ticket and he just starts shaking his head. He said, no, the train arrived and the front half went in the direction that you're going and the back half is going backwards. And I said, well, who the hell told me? The culture in Switzerland is like, just make it up. Or don't tell people like, oh, you're gonna climb that mountain and go over that mountain pass? Good luck. Should I tell him it's closed? No. What train am I getting on? Platform 3, 45 minutes. Okay, thank you. Should I tell him to make sure he gets on the front of the train because the back half of the train's going in another direction? Nah, he'll work it out on his own. He's a tourist. He's never been here before. I'm sure he knows it straight away by the gift of God. Anyway, then we finally got on another train and it arrived to Kandersteg, where I'd be staying for the next couple of days. And what a beautiful town it was when I arrived, even in the rain. We made it to Kandersteg. It's raining, but there is a rainbow. Winner, winner. Rainbow dinner. And yesterday I just spent the whole day resting and recouping and doing a little bit of work, just having a complete full day off. And I've changed hotel to another one because it was much cheaper. And we're here now at Kandersteg. So before I take you up to this lake, let me just share with you a little bit of the town itself because it's absolutely gorgeous. Kandersteg. She's a beaut. So this restaurant has a bunch of different desserts, and I was like, oh, I don't really want something super sugary, super fat. And she said, oh, you've got lots of fresh strawberries here. I said, oh. She goes, strawberries with meringue. Remember, meringue is from this area. We were in Meringen town recently. We didn't try any, so I was like, yeah, let's have some strawberries with meringue. And look at this. There's more cream and meringue than there are strawberries. I don't know, in my mind I was picturing like a basket of fresh strawberries and a little bit of meringue on the side. I'm not complaining at all. Oh, listen to that one. Oh, 2-in-1 action. There's no words for this. It's mine. You're not having any. You're not having any. And yeah, that was Kandersteg yesterday. And this morning I've come up to the lake, which as you can see behind me now. So let me explain and show you how I got here, what there is to do here, and the rest of this day off, this rest day, this little stretch of your leg hike, just to keep me and my legs pumping. So enjoy the video, enjoy this beautiful part of the Swiss Alps, and let's go. Wow, this is this is quite the view. And that valley that we can see going that way, that's where we're going to start walking tomorrow. Towards the Matterhorn. We're kind of approaching the halfway point in terms of distance. It's quite nice to get this vantage of tomorrow's hike. But that's not happening right now. Right now I'm taking you to this place. This should be, according to the sign, a 3 or 4.5 hour hike around the lake, depending on how far and what route we want to take. So it's like the perfect day hike, it's the perfect rest day, but it's enough to keep your blood pumping. It says we can go either way here. Okay, so we can go left, we can go right, but there's an Instagram if we go right. Let's go to the right, and we'll film the intro, which you probably already saw. But let's get the most famous backdrop for the intro. So obviously this is stunning, but this path leads us around and up and down and around again. And I think we'll find much nicer views. Because once we get a little bit of elevation, we start looking down and we see these mountains more of a backdrop. I think that's what we'll just take this view to the next level. Not bad, Switzerland. What's cool is there's a local guy fishing, which I didn't expect you were allowed to fish here, but that's cool that you can. Second thing is you can rent a little rowing boat, and the reflection of the mountain on the water is just unbelievable. There's somebody out there paddling around. We might do that. Especially if we can, I don't know, make a friend. Because doing that alone would be so sad. We'll soon go past that waterfall and up into that pasture. There's some huts up there. I think that's going to be the best view. But as I'm walking, I'm just like, look at the way the mountains reflect here. It's just amazing. Incredible. Truly spectacular. Words don't do it justice, obviously. You've got to come here. Come to Switzerland. Obviously. Wow, it feels incredible. Fresh from the glaciers and the ice above. Oh, that's cold. Oh. I decided to come off-piste a little bit, get more of a visceral experience, and just clambered up this steep hill. Not too far. You can see a couple of dudes down there. Gives you a little bit better view, a bit higher up than the beautiful path itself. It was a great place to fly the drone. And this place, holy moly! Obviously it speaks for itself. Obviously I don't need to tell you how beautiful it is. If it wasn't for that snow-capped mountain here, we would have walked here a couple of days ago, because where we were, we would have gone down into another town and then come up and over and around this lake down into Canders. But as you saw in the previous episode, it wasn't quite possible, unfortunately. Just 2 weeks too early before this ice up there at 2,000, 3,000 meters finally melts away, which is a shame. We had to get the bus and train around here, obviously, but wow, who cares? Not me, not right now anyway. Woo! Had a nice bottle of beer, a Swiss drop of ale. So this little hut serves cold beer. They have a few snacks, chocolate bar crisps, and some hand knitted socks, but no hot food. So don't come up here expecting a feed, bring your own. And then just sit here and enjoy the view, have a cold drink, have a beverage, and make a decision on what you want to do. You can either continue hiking up and around, you can go up a little bit more, looks like, but only a short distance to even more epic view, but it's kind of hard to imagine it getting better than this. Rest your legs. It took about 2.5 hours for me to get up here, but I had to stop a lot and film and fly the drone and take my time. You could probably rush up here in an hour and a half. Quite steep at parts, definitely a hike, definitely feels like a hike, but it should be nice and fun on the way down. I haven't decided if I'm going to go up and around or if I'm going to go down the way I came. all around successful rest day hike. Okay, welcome to Blausee. This was formed 15,000 years ago during a glacial event, and it caused a big sinkhole to form, and then the groundwater filled it up and created this aqua blue color due to minerals and things occurring naturally. And now it's a little spot nearby to come check out. I think it was, 9 francs to get in, but that includes a little boat trip. It's not bad. Oh, look at the way the wind is coming across the water there. Wow. The wind and the sunlight together. Any fishermen or fishmongers or fish enthusiasts? Are they trout or salmon? Because they look like trout or salmon. I believe they're quite similar species. It really is crystal clear. Those fish look yummy. It's really pretty here, but it's busy. It's a picnic family place. It's small. I've walked around it now, and there's lots of people taking pictures everywhere. Beautiful, obviously it's beautiful, but there's nothing to do here. There's a really expensive, overpriced restaurant. There's the free boat trip, but I don't want to go on there with a bunch of kids because it'd be impossible to film. There is a bunch of people here and it's quite noisy. I think it's one of those Instagram spots. If you came here really early in the morning and it was just you, you could have a really nice time here for about 45 minutes. It's tiny. It's really small. I don't know why I'm so underwhelmed. I think it's because it looked amazing on Instagram. Typical Instagram. Good morning. And what a beautiful morning it is here in Kandersteg. Our goal is to get to a town called Lukabad, which is down this valley, up the mountains, over a mountain pass, and down into another valley. And I always find it quite intimidating when you look in the direction that you're going and you check it on Google Maps and you go, yeah, we're going up in this direction. And you just see these high mountains and it's just very imposing and slightly worrying. Like, how are we going to get over this? Am I climbing up that crazy cliff? What's going on? Anyway, all will be revealed, I'm sure. I don't want to jinx it, but as far as weather goes, this has been the best weather of the trip so far. We've had sunny days, but there's just something about the air quality today, something about the temperature. It's just perfect. Or maybe it's this valley, but something magical today. Okay, it's a couple of kilometers later. I'm at the end of the valley. There's nothing but a wall of rock. And there is a cable car, that's good news. But for the 20 minutes that I've been walking in this direction, I've not seen one car go up or down. So I don't know if it's not running today. I don't know if it's closed. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's just waiting for people. Is the cable car open? Good morning. Is the cable car open? No. Okay, can I have one ticket? Just one way up. Up. I will walk to Gemi and go down to Lukabad. That's good. Okay. We're in business. Okay, let's go. So we are heading, our hotel for tonight, I pre-booked it, is in Lukabad. 4 hours, 15 minutes away. But if we can make it to Gemi Pass, which is 8 kilometers or 2.5 hours away, there's a cable car down. And my good friend Carl Watson, who knows this area very well, he said that from Gemi Pass down to Lukabad is really steep. So when we get to Gemi Pass, we'll have a look around. And if we need to get the cable car down, we will. If not, we'll walk down. Wow. There's a nice vantage point on this little rock here. We can see down into the valley, nice and green, and then it goes up onto the fallen rocks where there's a little bit of snow, and up over into the unknown, and that's the direction we're going. This is easily my favourite day of hiking already, and we've only just started really. There's just something about, I've said it this morning already, there's just something about the air. It just feels clean, cleaner than it has done, even though it's been pristine the whole time. Or maybe my lungs are just coming back to normal after having the man flu for a while. This is certainly the most remote hike we've done so far. It's just me and you and this. Which is like 2 scoops, you know, 1 scoop of adventure, thrill, excitement, and another scoop of dread and fear. Because there's comfort in knowing there's other tourists around you, other hikers, other idiots following your footsteps, and you're following someone else. But when it's just you, you start to second guess yourself. This is not my expertise. I don't do hiking very often like this anyway. That seems to be the climb over. There's quite a bit of snow and ice now. I'm just hoping when I get around the corner and it reveals the next 5 kilometers alongside a lake up to the Gemi Pass where the cable car is. I just hope when I turn around the corner it's not just a plateau of ice, because we're up high now. A bit harder to breathe. I had to put my jacket on, it's getting quite cold. And annoyingly, there's some weather blowing in that direction and the direction that we're going. This is the thing about the mountains, is the weather just flips on a coin. Because, you know, if it was flat, we could see it coming from far, far, far away. But what I've been learning here, hiking in the Swiss Alps, is a lot of the weather systems are formed in the mountains. You know, the cool air or the warm air comes from the valleys below, you know, in Italy and on the other side in Switzerland, and then it rises and then forms storm clouds here in the mountains. So it can quickly go from being blue sky, sunny and hot, to hail, wind, storms, lightning, you know, within a few minutes. And you can never see it coming. It just creeps over the top of a mountain and you're like, oh, okay, looks like it's gonna rain. So much more difficult walking on snow because you have no purchase. Like, you go to push and it just slides underneath. Luckily there's these purple and orange wooden sticks that show the way. Struggling today. Oh! Careful. You have to exert 30% more energy, and it feels like 20% less oxygen, which makes it about 50% harder. Which 2/3 of the time, statistically speaking, gives you about 49% chance of making it. Oh, we made it to the lake. It's frozen, or partially. Wow, that looks cool. I love how the landscapes change as we move around. It's just never the same every day. I'm sure at the height of winter this is frozen solid, but right now it looks like a bit like a slush puppy. In the distance, I see a cable car. Well, it's not moving, but that looks like it doesn't look too far. Looks about 2 kilometers from here. Let's just take a minute to just enjoy this moment. We're up here, 2,000 something meters in the Swiss Alps. We've got a little backpack with a baby bell, a couple of pears, the tail end of a man flu, some hiking shoes full of snow, which are freezing the ankles. Just trying to give you a bit more of a visceral explanation of exactly what's happening. I'm nice and warm again after that quite arduous climb. There's birds, there's even butterflies living up here. Look behind me though, see the dark clouds? I think back where we once were, I can hear the thunder and lightning. It's like, it's terrifying to think how lucky you can be and how lucky we've been so far today. Not to get caught up in it, just a little bit of drizzle. And there's more where that came from in that direction. But where we are right now, we're basking in sunlight and a little bit of drizzle hitting the lake. We're so lucky at this moment in time. It's making me want to just get a move on. I hope you're enjoying this Swiss series so far. I'm having like an out-of-body experience making this. It really is unbelievable to be here. So thanks for watching so far. This is funny snow. This is the kind of snow that drops you into a ravine. I really don't trust this surface. There's something dodgy about it. It looks like it was an avalanche. My options are to go up and over and down, or go down. No, that's the lake. or just go across it. But all of this snow would have fallen down in an avalanche and covered up the trail. These bloody fighter jets that fly around all day. Thing is, you get used to them, and then all of a sudden you go, oh, hang on a minute, that's not a fighter jet, that's an avalanche. I've caught on camera like 2 or 3 big avalanches this series, and every time I thought they were just... This is so stupid. Should have just gone up and over this part. Okay. Try not to think about it. Just try to... You see, it's these little slices that I'm worried about. If I put my foot in there... I'm filming this in June. Early June. And it will be coming out in July. This episode, because it's later in the series, may come out in August. If you're coming to do hiking in Switzerland and you don't want to put up with ice and snow and dodgy high mountain passes like this, come in August, because it's all melted by then. But that being said, it's high season. It's more expensive, way more people. And I didn't want to come in the height of summer. I wanted to come a bit earlier, enjoy cheaper prices, enjoy less people, and more importantly, get the videos up and ready for you guys to enjoy as research for your trip to Switzerland, hopefully this summer. Hopefully you're thinking of coming here July, August, September, October, high season, right? And then you, whoa, you're searching for YouTube videos. You found a few of mine. Now you're into episode 8 or whatever this is. That was a stupid idea. I was coming along this path and I saw this rock and I was like, oh, I'll walk up this rock so I don't have to walk in the snow. And then I fell and grazed my shin. Look at the state of me. I've got blood on my leg, bruises up and down my shin, frozen to the bone, cold and wet. But thankfully this is Switzerland and there's so much infrastructure that a few hours of absolute wilderness and testing nature, and in about 1 minute I might have a Pinot Grigio in my hand. I mean, that's Switzerland for you. So they have this gondola. It's not working, it's just for photos. Inside there, in 10 minutes, there's a cable car going down. Isn't that something? The whole town is basking in sunlight. Freaking insane. Buongiorno. Welcome back, everybody. So let me get you up to speed since the last time we spoke. So I checked into that little shed, that little tiny home in the beautiful village of Lukabad. And I spent a lovely night under the stars in that hut. Didn't sleep a wink. I have a terrible cough and it was keeping me up all night. And so the next morning I left and came on the local bus down the valley to a town called Luke or something like that. Anyway, then nipped on a train to Vesp, which is the kind of turning point to the valley of Zermatt. This huge long valley gradually snakes its way slowly up to the town of Zermatt, which is the end point of our hike and at the base of the beautiful, famous and striking mountain of the Matterhorn, which is our end point, which is quite exciting. So yesterday I just slowly walked up this valley about 15 kilometers and it wasn't the most sort of life-changing of walks. I just kind of walked slowly up past villages until I got to a town called St. Nicolaus, which is where I'm at now. And everyone here speaks Italian, hence why I always like speaking to you and greeting you with buongiorno. Hello. Yeah, you've got the statue of Mary and Jesus, you've got St. Nicolaus, and there's a Catholic church here, and everybody speaks Italiano. Just spotted something quite beautiful. I think I'll get the drone out to give you a better, closer look. So behind me, you can see the waterfall, and at the base of the waterfall is a bunch of ice and snow that's yet to melt. And I just saw a deer walk across it, and he probably said, "Oh, it's nice and cold here on this hot sunny day. I'll just lie down and cool down my belly." And there he is, just relaxing. I think it's a girl, actually. There she is, relaxing underneath the waterfall, just casually on the snow and ice, with a $1 billion view of the Swiss Alps. The Matterhorn Golf Club. And it's gorgeous. I would love to play around here. Well, I'm sure you have to be a member. And I bet it's not cheap either. Here we go. Go on, love. Nice backswing. About another 2 or 3 hours. Beautiful. Great day to be alive. Must have seen about 50 trains go by today. They're beautiful, aren't they? The way they just snake through the countryside. I love that bright red against the green of the valleys. Gorgeous. There she is, the Matterhorn. Woo! There she is. We're so close now. She's hiding in the clouds, but we can see her. She's there. Okay, we've just got about 1 or 2 kilometers left. This helicopter's making a racket and there's lots of wind. So let's get into town and get a cheeseburger and a beer. And just like that, we're back in civilization. Okay, we're here in my little hostel room. Private room, which was nice, but 2 twin beds, which is so annoying, but never mind. It's got the most incredible view of the Matterhorn, and if I just position the beds and move them around, which I'll do in a minute, I'll be able to just lie in bed and see that in the morning as I awake. I've got 4 nights here, so just over 100 USD per night. I thought I only had 3 nights. It cost me 500 US for 4 nights, which with this view, this location, isn't too bad. I've got my own room. Yeah, I've paid more and I've definitely paid less on this trip. But I'm just gonna sit somewhere very close by after my shower, enjoy this view, watch the Matterhorn do its thing, and have a cold one. Welcome back. Welcome back to Switzerland. We are still in the town of Zermatt. If you've been following along over the past couple of weeks, we've been hiking and sometimes using public transport when things went wrong to get to here from Grindelwald. And it's been an incredible journey. However, when I got to the town of Zermatt, which is right underneath the finish line, which is the Matterhorn, one of the most striking, tallest mountains in the Swiss Alps, for the 3 days that I've been sat here waiting to go explore, it's been miserable. The clouds rolled in, the rain rolled in, and we didn't have any views of any mountains, and all of the webcams that show all of the beautiful hiking opportunities and gondolas to go up high all just revealed grey nothingness, and the whole reason of coming here felt a little bit deflated. It's raining. But thankfully, today is my last full day in Switzerland and my last opportunity to explore Zermatt and take you up to see the Matterhorn, and let's go hiking and do loads of cool stuff. And thankfully, there's blue skies, and the Matterhorn, which is just over my shoulder, is threatening to show his face for the first time. So today's gonna be a really fun day. I'm super excited. My last full day in Switzerland. Let's end it on a bang. Let's get going. Okay, so here's the plan. Okay, now we're gonna do the hiking later because we've got the good weather and we have to do the scariest thing first. I don't want to build up to this thing. The friends of mine have gone all the way up to this. They've told me it's extremely intense and terrifying. So let's just get it out of the way. So here's the town of Zermatt. We're down here. We've just paid for our cable car. We're gonna go up to a place called Fury. We're gonna change cable car, go up to this place called Trockenestag, which is already 2,900 meters. We'll get off there and then we'll immediately get on another glacier cable car and go right up to the very top, 3,800 meters to the Matterhorn Glacier Paradise, where we'll get some views looking down on the Matterhorn, can you believe it? And up towards the highest peak here in Switzerland, which is called Monte Rosa. And then we'll go on a nice big 3-4 hour hike around the 5 lakes up on the plateau. And then if we survive all of that, we'll come back down into Zermatt. We'll have a beer. I found a place that sells €1 beer or 1 franc beer. I'll show you. We'll have a beer and we'll celebrate not only an exhilarating day on the Matterhorn, but an incredible 2-3 weeks here in Switzerland. I'm so excited, guys. I'm terrified about going up to the top. They play Taylor Swift here, which is a very calming effect. If you're thinking, Paddy, it's just a cable car, I'm terrified of these things. Okie dokie. Here we go. I always make really stupid noises when I'm nervous. The views are beautiful though. Absolutely. Oh, I can see the top. Oh. I hope when we get to the top, we can see the peak of the Matterhorn. That would be really nice. If it's just coming through the clouds, that would be great. That would make this whole thing, this whole trip up here and the 109 Swiss francs ticket price worth it. Oh, there's a massive glacier. Wow, that is awesome. Hold on to the tripod while we go over the scary thing. Oh, God. You can pay 3,000 francs, I saw, between 4 of you to go on a helicopter tour around here. Or you can pay 100 and come in the cable car and get a very similar view. Oh, wow. Gorgeous, stunning. Well, we have so far high to go. I'm so glad I'm the only person in here. They would be like, what the hell are you talking about, bro? Who are you talking to? I'm talking to you! Oh, we're going into the clouds now. Visibility will go down. Wow, look at this. Oh!
Stay at Europe's highest mountain station. Benvenuti sul Matterhorn Glacier Paradise. Vi auguriamo un piacevole soggiorno sulla stazione di montagna più alta d'Europa.
This is unbelievable! Oh, there's the Matterhorn! It's moving around. We're literally above the clouds. Oh God, I'm glad that's over. Oh, I mean, that was beautiful, but terrifying. I just want to get outside. Notice that we're inside the mountain and that they built this somehow. Imagine getting all of the building equipment up here without the cable car. How would you do that? How would you get it up here? We're here. And this is quite the view. The first thing that you notice when you come out, there's a little lift that takes you up the last little bit, and there's a little staircase that leads up to the highest point. We'll go up there in a second. Actually, on this side, this is Monte Rosa, and like I said before, there's many different peaks, and we could, if we wanted to, we could jump down these stairs, jump on the rock, and kind of spend a couple of hours clambering up that snow and ice. We definitely wouldn't make it in the shoes that I've got on. But we could summit the tallest mountain of Switzerland from here. It's not far away, a couple 100 meters. There's this big white spaceship thing. I think it's a weather radar or a spaceship ready to go up to Mars. I don't know. It's very calm. There's no wind, thankfully. And it's quite warm. It's obviously probably below freezing, but it doesn't feel like it with the sun basking on your face and reflecting off the snow and the ice. There's a frozen Jesus. He looks quite beautiful, frozen on that crucifix, bless him. Wow! Because of the time of day or the cloud level, the only peaks that we can see are definitely 3,000 plus. So the only ones that we can see in a 360 degree are the big ones, the big boys, including where we are. Everyone's out of breath just from going up 10 steps. It's thin air up here. Okay, this is from the photo spot. I've got my 30 seconds of fame. So take a look. It's the clouds are rolling in quick, unfortunately. There's a big clump of cloud over there, and now it's coming this way. Ding dong. It's definitely worth 309 francs to come up here. It's very nice. It's very nice. I'm just gonna stay up here for like as long as my fingers don't freeze, just to enjoy it all and start chatting to a few people, make some friends, and swipe back now. We made it. We made it. 360. Hello, Jesus. Oh, rocket ship. Ah.
Yeah, it certainly was a thrill and a beautiful experience to go right up to the top here, looking down on the Matterhorn. But the ticket price includes quite a few other activities, which was nice. Up here at the summit, there is an ice sculpture museum. Again, you go into a tunnel of ice and you go inside the glacier, and it is absolutely freezing.
It's freezing in here. It's freaking freezing in here.
There's also a restaurant which sells delicious foods and much needed hot chocolate to warm your fingers up, especially after you've been inside that ice museum. Then I made my way back down over the beautiful glaciers to the upper level, not the highest point, but kind of the halfway area where there's a nice viewing area where people actually go skiing. And even though this is in June, some of the ski slopes up at this altitude still contain lots and lots of beautiful powder snow. And so I just went for a little hike around this area and tried to find a nice vantage point to enjoy the Matterhorn in all of its glory.
I've had so much fun just hanging out here on my own and just watching these clouds doing its thing, and just watching the Matterhorn and just admiring nature and admiring the beauty and majesty of the Swiss Alps. It's just been a pleasurable day so far. But what I think, and I'm keeping positive, is we just go down and we do our little hike over to the lakes. Later, I think this is all gonna piss off, and then we'll have a great view over by the lakes, and we might even be lucky enough to get that classic reflection in the water shot. But if not, it doesn't matter. There she is. No more hiding. Hi. Sorry, I'm like halfway through my Big Mac. I did just film a whole section to the camera, turned it around and realised it wasn't recording. Let me just check it's recording. Okay, it's recording. That was the biggest fail of the entire production of this series. I sat down and I was very poetic and very funny. You missed it. Basically, this Burger King, this Big Mac, I should say, is dedicated to you. And I went and got the cheapest beer that I've ever seen in Switzerland. I already had a drink of it before, and this was only £1. If you don't believe me, look, I filmed it when I went and got the beer.
I can open.
Thank you. 1.
Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. When I was coming back down, by the way, whenever I'm doing these long walk backs, if I've been filming the whole way up, then I normally put music in, and I just give myself the descent with no intent on filming. And I just put my music in, and I think because I hadn't eaten very much today and I was really exhausted and dehydrated, I went into this fasting high, and I was like buzzing my tits off, and the music was just perfect and the scenery was just kicking in, and the drama of the storm and everything, it was just amazing. And then as I came through the like tree line, the sun came back out again, and it was just magical. And I went a little bit through this like cliff walk. I got my camera out like twice to share a little bit, but honestly, it was like 2 hours of pure heaven. How cool is this? Love it. Tomorrow, I'll make a vlog about leaving Switzerland and going to the new country, which is Italy. And I'll also sit down, maybe on the train if I get a nice little quiet area, and I'll go through every single franc that I spent on this trip. I'll tell you how much it cost me every day, the whole trip, in Swiss francs, USD, whatever you need. It will all be there. And then I'll see you in Italy. Thanks for watching the Switzerland series. It was a pleasure.